Hello, everybody. How are you today? This is Sam Williams. My name is Sam Williams. I'm with the Clerk of the Circuit Court, Iris Martinez, Clerk of the Circuit Court. And we are here today for a special show to help people understand what warrants are all about and what happens with warrants. So I guess we want to call this the Warrant Show. Don't be scared. It's okay. This is, not coming to get you. But this is just to help give you some knowledge about warrants. If you ever got caught up with a warrant, if you had a friend that had a warrant that was out for them, this is to help give you more information about what the clerk of the circuit court. What we do when it comes to processing of warrants. So this show today, I have an illustrious group. Again, my name is Sam Williams. You can call me Sam I Am, whatever you feel comfortable with. And I have my panelists today. I have Doris Goodwin. She is the associate clerk of the Criminal Bureau. Okay. We also have Eduardo Garza, who is over our warrants project. He can give you his more explicit title. We also have Lauren Lazinski. Really hope I did not butcher that name. So she is also on here. She's also one of our in our management team, and Cindy Ortiz, who is also a part of our management team. So they are here to kind of help guide you through this warrant process, and we're here to hear. We're here to help. We're here to help. So without further ado, I am going to introduce Mr. Eduardo Garza. He is going to, he's got some nice slideshows for us to be able to kind of help us see kind of, what it is that we do. Again, the contact information for our office and all that other good stuff to be able to help kind of ease kind of the tension of not knowing what a warrant is or how to handle a warrant when it does or if it does come your way. So, Mr. Garza, you take it from here.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, for that kind introduction. Let me go ahead and share my screen, please. Okay, as Mr. Williams suggested, we are truly here to help. We understand that the word warrant may cause fear in many of us, but rest assured that the clerk of the circuit court, Madam Clerk Iris Martinez, in her many years of public service, has always and willingly wanted to help as many constituents as possible. In this case, the over 5 million residents that reside in Cook County. So thank you, Mr. Williams, for the kind introduction. And I'll go ahead and present my slides that'll provide, as Mr. Williams suggested, a quick overview. So what will be covered today? First, a general understanding of type of warrants, how to find out if you have an active warrant. We're also going to talk about the best ways to address your warrants. And I'll spend a little bit of time in discussing the initiative that I help coordinate along with other great colleagues like Priscilla Cepeda, the Safety and Justice Challenge Initiative. But by the way, the clerk of the circuit court is the official keeper of court records. We cannot provide legal advice, and we urge anyone watching the show, if you have any legal questions, to seek the appropriate advice. General understanding of warrants. Typically, there are two types of warrants, what we consider bench warrants and search warrants. For today's purposes, we will not be discussing search warrants. So bench warrants, a judge can issue a bench warrant usually in two scenarios. One, if you missed a court date, and these are the most typical in our court system and really in court systems throughout the United States. They're also referred to as FTAs. If you missed a court date, a judge can issue a warrant to guarantee that you make it back to your future court date. And then the other type of warrant is if an arresting agency asks a judge to issue out a warrant for whatever reason. There may be a criminal matter involved. There's typically a bond involved here. For today's discussions, we will not be discussing search warrants. And a general understanding of search warrants, just so the audience knows, is that typically, in almost 99% of the cases, search warrants any law enforcement agency throughout the United States, if you do have an active search warrant, has the authority to detain you. So this is all 50 states in the United States if there is an active search warrant for any individual. If arrested on an active warrant, a judge will ask you to post a bond. And the best way to think about this is almost like credit. They'll ask you to post a percentage of a larger amount, and the judge and the court system wants to make sure that you show up for your court date to address any future issue that you may have. How to find out if you have an active warrant? There are 3 ways. You can call our office, you can email our office, or you can visit what we call our digital access terminal. It's a computer system that we have at all of our courthouses that allows the user and our constituents and our customers the ability to search up their own cases. If you don't have the time to stop by one of our courthouses, you can email us, or you can also call us, and the numbers you'll see here on this chart on the right-hand side. If you don't know where your case may have originated, you may not know if it's a District 2 case, District 3. Again, the best way that I would suggest is for you to email us or call us, and we'll be happy to let you know where your case originated, what district your case originated from. This is the form that the clerk of the circuit court asks our customers to submit when they want to hear their warrant case. It's what we call a motion to vacate form. There is a small fee, and you see the fees there involved when you file this petition, this motion. And just so you know, the minute you file this, we will assign you a court hearing. If we can't do it on the spot, we will send you notification when that court hearing will take place. A little bit about the Safety and Justice initiative that I helped coordinate along with some excellent colleagues there at the Clerk of the Circuit Court. And this particular initiative is to address nonviolent misdemeanor warrants that date back from 1995 to 2015. It is a collaborative effort with the State Attorney's Office, the Chief Judge's Office, the Public Defender's Office, and our office. We reviewed about 17,000 cases that qualify as nonviolent misdemeanor cases. And then we quashed and recalled almost close to 5,000, a little over 5,000 cases to date. Quash and recalled is the legal term for deactivating your case, which basically means your warrant is no longer active and law enforcement does not or no longer has the authority to detain you. So if you feel that your case may fall under these parameters, we ask you to email us at warrants@cookcountycourt.org. .com. Again, we are here to help. We understand that warrants, again, may trigger some sense of fear. At the end of the day, we know that people make life decisions based on whether or not they think they may have an active warrant. But your case may be part of this initiative where it's no longer active, which is why we're having the show, and which is why it's important for you to contact us via email or phone to find out if your case falls within this particular initiative, or if you have general questions. Again, we're here to help. Now I'll turn it back to Mr. Williams. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Garza. That was some phenomenal information. Just the simple fact that what we saw, that at least we've gone through over 5,000 so far, that we were able to make sure that we were identified. We identified those particular warrants and make sure that and I think you work in conjunction with the state's attorneys, also the public defenders, or are they also part of this endeavor?
That is correct, Mr. Williams. But what we've done is essentially look at about, as mentioned, 17,000 cases, and the state attorney will not pursue any cases that they feel may be a little egregious. So that's why I mentioned that these cases that they do feel comfortable in pursuing and the judges do feel comfortable in addressing are what we call these nonviolent misdemeanor warrants. There may have been, for example, a retail theft under $300 charge 20 years ago at Kmart. Well, we know Kmart no longer exists. We know Dominick's no longer exists, and some stores. So the state, the legal term is burden of proof. The state no longer has that burden of proof, and they will no longer pursue the case. It's sitting in the books, it's sitting in our records, and we know that people make life-lasting decisions based on not whether they may think they have an active warrant, which is why the state, the public defender, and our office and the judges, the judiciary, feels comfortable in addressing these cases that have just piled up over the years.
Thank you. That's phenomenal. Phenomenal work. With our office, I know Honorable Iris Martinez, our clerk of the circuit court. She was one of the main things that she was one of the initiatives she wanted to take on and say, can we work with the state's attorneys and public defender's office to kind of help get these off of our books? Out of since we are the keepers of the record, we keep these records, forever how long statute dictates, or ever how long these cases are sitting active. I really commend Iris Martinez for wanting to bring you on board to kind of help take care of this initiative. So that brings me to, of course, the associate clerk of the criminal bureau, Ms. Doris Goodwin, who is I guess the good in her name means she's good and she wins. That's Goodwin. That's just how I see it. So I am going to ask you a few questions and ask you a couple of questions, maybe a couple, a few. I don't know, a couple I think is always two, but it may be a few. So Ms. Goodwin, how do I find out if I have a warrant? That's one of my questions.
Good morning, Sam, and thank you for your question. So I think the most important thing to help the audience understand is there are a number of ways for you to find out if you have a warrant in our system. One of the ways is by obviously calling the office. Another way would be to email our office, and Dr. Garza was nice enough to provide that slide earlier in the presentation. And so again, calling the office, emailing the office. We also have DAT portals, which are our public access terminals located in every division within Cook County. So whether you're in the downtown Daly Center or a suburban location, Markham or Skokie or Maywood, you can go in and access one of those public access terminals to look up and see if you have a warrant. And I think a good point to make here is even if you have a, say, Maywood case, but you are in the Markham area, you can go to the Markham Courthouse and look up to find if you have a Maywood warrant. The DAT portals, the public access terminals, are Cook County wide. And last but not least, of course, if you have some sort of legal representation, whether it be a private attorney or a public defender, you can reach out to them also and ask them to, find out if you have a warrant that has been issued on any type of case you may be filing.
Great. And so when you said the DAT terminal, so that means that the DAT terminals, which is for those who don't know, I guess digital access terminals
Yes.
in our office that you can access information on, right? And
Correct.
they're located in all of our divisions.
They are located in all of our divisions. And actually, this administration, Clerk Iris Martinez saw fit to add to those terminals that we had in the prior administration. So there's no long wait lines or anything like that. You absolutely can access any information on those terminals in any one of our locations.
Wow. Good deal. So, one thing, access to information is extremely important,
Absolutely.
and
Access
the
to justice.
efficiency, yeah, and how to and the efficiency in being able to access that information is very vital.
Correct.
We know that people can get frustrated if it's hard for them to try to get a hold of some information, some answers on some things that they have questions to. So, kudos, Iris Martinez. Yes. So, here's the other question. Dos. Yeah, I think that's
your couple.
Yes. So, what are the steps to resolve? Not this. If I had a warrant, something I may have done years ago, and they caught me, and I didn't go to court or something like that in the warrant. So, what are the steps to resolve my warrant? This is for you, Doris.
Well, first and foremost, I think that, we want the public to understand that you cannot, once a warrant has been issued by a judge, it is a document that has been issued in court and signed off on by a judge. Once that's taken place, the only way to resolve it is to make your way back into court to have the judge address the warrant and for you to address the warrant with the judge. You can do that by filing a motion in the location, I shouldn't say any one of the locations, but in the location that that warrant was issued. So for example, if a Markham judge issued a warrant, you would have to go to the Markham courthouse to file a motion, or you can also access our e-file system to do that.
So you can access the e-file system?
Yes, you can use the electronic filing system, our Odyssey e-file system, to go in and file a motion to obtain a court date to have your warrant addressed with the judge.
That's something fairly new, right? As far as the...
It is fairly new. I think we went live in the Criminal Bureau with e-filing in July of 2021. So it is fairly new as opposed to the civil areas that have probably been e-filed, I believe, since 2017 or 2018.
Wow. So that's during this administration, right? Where we made that available?
It is. It absolutely is. Yes, it is under Clerk Martinez.
Yeah, there's just some more initiatives that I know that she was really, really rooting for, to be able to have more access across the board. So that is kudos to this office, and Iris Martinez and the team and your team. I know as the Criminal Bureau, it's not easy because I do know. Yes, this could be a hard place to come into because this is not Walt Disneyland, right? It's not a retail store where you just happen to want to come in and just buy clothes just because you want to buy clothes.
Sure.
Yeah.
In the Criminal Bureau, it is almost never a joyous occasion, And so, especially in the mind of a warrant, in the matters of warrants, people want to feel as though they're going to be okay in the long run, and so that's what we want to impress upon people, that the sooner you take care of the issue, the better off you'll be. And so the access to justice should make that easier for people to, conquer those issues.
Wow. Thank you. So I'm going to get you off the hot seat for a second. I'm going to mosey down the road a little bit. And this question is for Cindy Ortiz. So can I still be arrested? Let's just say if I have a warrant outstanding, can I still be arrested if I filed a motion? Say, hey, listen, I filed my motion. Am I okay? Am I still okay?
Hello, everyone. No, actually, until you actually go in front of a judge, a warrant is still active. So even if you file a motion and let's say you have a court date in 2 days, yes, the understanding is that you still have an active warrant until you go in front of the judge.
That means even though we were able to wonderfully e-file our motion, get that motion onto the system, and our clerks at the Clerk of the Circuit Court accepted that motion into the system, we're just keeping the record that you filed an appointment basically to see the judge. So if anybody wants to know, so I guess I'm just better explain what a motion is. I guess, you've probably heard that. There's a couple of terms that I think we hear in society that's kind of, a little mispronounced. Like I would hear someone call and say, I would like to file an e-motion. That's, I guess now we can kind of say e-motion or electronic motion, that will work. But I think before some people just thought emotion, like I have emotions, so we have to kind of correct them and say, no, it's just motion, which is basically what I've tried to explain to people, that a motion is a request. So basically, if you're trying to request something from the judge, just like you need to get a request to get an appointment to see a doctor. My dog this morning all of a sudden had something going on, had some ailment, so we had to call the vet and get an appointment. So it's almost the same thing, right? So if you want to go see a judge, then you have to file a motion basically and get an appointment to get see the judge, right?
Correct.
Very good explanation.
So that's what motion is. So you want to file a motion, but understand that is just a motion. That means that you have your appointment, but just like at a doctor, you may get an appointment to see the doctor. That doesn't take care of the ailment. That just gets you an appointment to see the doctor. The ailment is only taken care of until there's either medicine or an actual procedure or something like that. So your getting an appointment to see the judge about this warrant does not take care of the warrant, and like you said, Cindy, until you actually see the judge and the judge enters an order, right?
Correct.
So I just kind of equate the same. I want everybody to kind of know, do correlation between the two. It's almost kind of the same, equate the same, so that you understand what that is. Great, great. So, Doris, I'm coming back to you
Me?
because you're so good, and I know that you win. All right. Uh, can I? Let's just say, all right. I know I probably had this motion, or I had this warrant, excuse me, and then all of a sudden I moved out of state, or I know I was supposed to be in court last week, and I missed it, because I was at Wisconsin Dells or somewhere else. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to be out there for the several weeks. Am I safe being out of state, knowing that there's still a warrant?
Well, theoretically, no, right? And so what happens when a judge issues a warrant is everyone is there in the courtroom, the state, the public defender, or private attorney, and the judge, and they're talking about the issuing of this warrant. And so what happens is a lot of times a judge can set geographical limitations on the warrant. Those geographical limitations will tell the warrant to lodge in Cook County, the state of Illinois, or any surrounding Chicagoland area, correct? But if a judge does not set geographical limitations, that means that warrant can be returned nationwide. So they can get you anywhere. So if you commit the crime in Illinois, the warrant is issued in Illinois, but then you run to Alaska, they're going to get you in Alaska if there are no geographical limitations set on that warrant. And so to answer your question, yes, you can be picked up nationwide on a local state warrant.
Wow. And then they will just somehow get you back.
They will get you back.
They will get you back. I guess I don't know if that's a free trip or what have you, but just we want to make sure that we want to really press upon individuals to, once you find out, if you do find out, you go through our information and find out that you do have it, that you want to take care of that as soon as possible. We don't want you to have to be somewhere where, you maybe in Las Vegas, you decided you wanted to get married, and then all of a sudden get picked up right before you're about to say I do or put a ring on it, So we don't want that to happen. Try to come through, try to get as much information as you can through our office. Also, as Mr. Garza also spoke about, of course, state's attorneys, also maybe through the public defender's office, as you also mentioned, Doris. So yeah, we want to make sure you all get that information. Get that information as much as you can to get that taken care of. Because, as Mr. Garza mentioned earlier, it could be a scary thing, and we don't want your life being uprooted, disrupted, because of something that could have possibly really been taken care of. So thank you, Doris. So Lauren.
Yes.
Lazinski, right?
Yes.
All right.
Perfect.
So yours is almost kind of along the same line. So, so if I do not currently live in Illinois, so I decided to move away, right? Can I file my motion? And I think I mentioned this earlier, maybe in a term, but can I file my motion electronically?
So yes, you can file it electronically if you go to our website and you scroll down to the middle. There'll be a section there, and it'll say e-file Illinois. And you click on that and you just follow the prompts. But it is worth noting that just because you can file electronically and you're out of state does not mean that the judge will not require you physically to be in person. So my suggestion is once you received the electronic email back saying that your motion was accepted and gives you your court date, that you call the location to where you're going to be in court and you ask if that judge is doing Zoom, are they in person? A number of judges I know here at 26th and Cal have gone to less Zoom and more in person. There are some that have certain Zoom days, but just a handful. So it is important for you to follow up and figure out if you need to be in person, if you have to make the travel, or if you can do it on Zoom. And if you can do it on Zoom, we will give you the ID and all of the access numbers that you need so that you can remote in.
Oh, that's a good point. So yes, you can be anywhere to electronically file this motion. And you mentioned a very important point too, as a lot of hearings now are like as we're doing here now via Zoom. They're electronically done virtual hearings. But of course, as you said, still contact once you file the motion, contact the office to find out whether that hearing is going to be in person or it's going to be via Zoom or
Yes.
virtual hearing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So we don't want people to have to worry about. Let's just say they don't have the money to fly back in for a hearing. But once they file their motion, and they may find out that it is an actual virtual hearing via
Correct.
Zoom, and then
Yeah.
they can just do their hearing from wherever they are. I think I think our office was kind of going to that point at some point, and it's just that the pandemic kind of sped that up. So thanks, Lauren. That's a very key point. So I'm going to ask Cindy, what happens if the judge does not quash my warrant?
Two things can happen. The judge can either ask for the defendant to be taken into custody by executing the warrant, or he can choose to recall and quash the warrant. It depends. And in cases like that, if the judge decides not to recall and quash the warrant, which means they can actually get a piece of paper and it'll state that the case was recalled and quashed and they are able to leave the courtroom and come back on a later court date. Or sometimes in matters like that, the case can be resolved. But if the judge decides that he is not going to recall the warrant and he executes it, he then can take the defendant into custody and have the defendant post bond. If not, if they cannot post bond, then they go into custody and wait till their next court date.
Wow. So that I think, and let me go back and just make sure. So that there's legal terms. There's a lot of legal terms that kind of flow in and out of the court system. So that term that I use, quash, means what?
Quash means that the judge is actually either the defendant had a good excuse in cases where either he was in the hospital or something that can justify why he was not in court. Basically, it's just giving the opportunity, to leave the courtroom and not be taken into custody and not having a post bond. So then at that moment, they'll give you another court date or they can resolve the case at that moment. Now, execute also goes against your background. Whenever a state's attorney reads your background, they can say, well, he had a bond forfeiture warrant. That means he missed court and they executed it and took him into custody. So that kind of goes on goes against you as far as an execute. A quash kind of justifies that the reason why you weren't in court was a good excuse for the judge. And so that just lets you go out from the courtroom, leave the courtroom on kind of somewhat good terms where your reason for missing court was justifiable.
So that means it basically takes the warrant off of you.
Correct.
Once, for the most part, when you quash the warrant. So I do want to, and I make light of these terms sometimes, because I'm making light of these terms because I want to make sure that you all, because again, this can be such a very tense place at times because of the type of situations that people deal with when they come to court. And just the simple fact that, you have to come in and see a judge with a robe on and the bench is up higher and you're kind of standing down low. It can be very intimidated to, have to look up. Some people just really, they get really kind of nervous about that thing. So, but I have heard this term periodically, how do I squash, warrant? So, yeah. And I'm thinking when I heard the term, I'm like, squash, and I'm thinking like, okay, a vegetable? No, it's not really, but it's almost at the same time, it's almost like the term can also mean squash when you actually squeeze something, right? And it's almost the same thing. You quash a warrant, you want to squash it, you want to get rid of it, you want to kill it, in less of an act of a term. So even though we've heard those, the actual term is quash. So you want to take that S off the front of it, and it's actually called quash. But even if you accidentally put that on there on your motion when you electronically file it, like Lauren said, trust me, the judges know exactly what you mean. So quash a warrant, meaning like you really want to have the warrant. You want to get rid of that warrant. You want it to go away for the most part. And so, yeah, those are very key things that we want to have happen, because we don't want to see people, caught up. We want people to go on with their lives and be able to, do the things that they need to do with their families and self. So, thank you, Cindy. But don't put on mute yet.
Okay.
I got one more question for you.
Okay.
All right. So, what documents will I receive to prove that my warrant was quashed?
You'll receive a piece of paper once the judge grants the quash. He'll give you a piece of paper, and they encourage you to carry it with you. So if ever you get pulled over, you can show proof that your warrant was quashed. And so you will, before you leave the courtroom, the judge will hand you that, enter it, sign it, and hand it to you so you can keep it with you to show proof that your warrant was taken care of.
Because when that does happen, so when the judge does quash the warrant, like you said, he'll give you a copy of the order. He'll give the individual a copy of the order at that time, so that way when they leave out of the courtroom, in this case, with their hearings that are virtual, will they email a copy of those to them?
Usually, yes, the public defender, if they're appointed a public defender, or usually an attorney, yes, we have them sent to the attorney, and the attorneys usually either give it to them or we do. We send it out to their email or request an email.
Oh, that's good. That's important to know. We want to make sure that at least there's various ways that individuals are able to get this, because you want to make sure that even when you're out driving in the streets or you're out somewhere, that you at least have copies of it, right? To show proof that this warrant was taken care of, just in case you are approached by a police officer about your particular previous warrant, because that's basically what it is. Once it's quashed, it's now considered like a previous warrant, or it was taken care of. So that's why it's important to probably have that documentation with you, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page, right? Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate it. So, I think it's very vital. The reason why we're here today is to share with you this information, share with you the information on how to be a part of this knowledge base. How can I quash a warrant? How, if I have a warrant, can I find out if I have a warrant? If I do have a warrant, how do I take care of this warrant? Can I file a motion? Do I have to come in and physically file the motion with paperwork? No, Lauren told us we can electronically file it now. We can definitely electronically file that warrant. If I'm out of town, am I still liable, or can they still get me? Or Ms. Goodwin did express to us that is a possibility, depending on what the judge orders as far as geographical limitations on it. So it is very possible that you can be picked up. So and then, like I said, Mr. Garza definitely let us, with our slideshow, gave us the information of all the things that we've done thus far with these warrants and how we were able to take care of it. Are there any last words that you want to say? Let's just say, Doris, are there any last words or any important information that we may have missed out of?
No, I think we covered the main proponents about warrants. I think that what I would like to, have the community know is that the Clerk of the Circuit Court is absolutely here to assist you with whatever you have inside the court system, especially with your warrant. So feel free to come in, ask for help, ask for information, ask for assistance, and we will definitely be here to assist you with any of your needs.
Right.
And don't be afraid.
Great. Great words. Thank you. Ms. Ortiz, Cindy Ortiz, is there anything additional you would like to share?
No, I don't. I think everything was covered.
Good. Thank you. Ms. Lazinski. Is there any
No.
additional words of wisdom or anything that of knowledge that we would,
No, I think Dory said it best.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. And last but not least, Mr. Garza, is there any last words of information on the knowledge that we need to know?
Thank you, Mr. Williams. I cannot stress what Doris has already said, that we are here to help. There's preconceived notions about government agencies, and most certainly about court agencies. And, growing up in Chicago, growing up in a minority community, there is that sense of fear, that sense of, can I walk in? Can I get information? That's very real, and certainly want to stress to the audience that we understand how you may feel, but we are here for the public. We are here for customers, and we will do our very best to navigate with you your particular case. I'm sure people have heard of the over criminalization of these charges back in the 90s and 2000s, which is why we're trying to quash and recall these cases today. When these crimes happen, there was an over criminalization, for example, in communities of color, in minority communities. So now we, from the Clerk of the Circuit's perspective, and Madam Clerk Martinez's many years of service, know that we got to go back and address some of these charges that even the state today considers, well, yes, they're charges, but they're nonviolent, they're misdemeanor charges, and now we got to go back and sort of clean this up. We've seen what happened from the cannabis side. In fact, a lot of these cases that I mentioned, the 5,000 cases that have been quashed and recalled, have been cannabis related. Who would have thought 25 years ago that there's a new policy on that now? So we understand that there may be an intimidation factor in addressing many courts. We understand that court systems in general may be complicated to navigate, but the Clerk of the Circuit Court is 100% committed to service the public, especially around warrants. And we have such a distinguished panel here who has over 50, 60 years combined experience. If I had Mr. Williams, probably over 70 years combined experience in working for the Clerk of the Circuit Court, who are public servants. So yes, we are here to help. Please do not be intimidated. Please use the resources that you have, the email, the phone numbers that we provided earlier, and ask us for anything that you may need regarding warrants.
It was wonderful. I appreciate that. I appreciate that information, Mr. Garza. And I know, which we did not, we didn't deal with specifically here. Like you said, we weren't necessarily, we know that there are search warrants out there. We didn't deal with that here, but that's something, that's another component. And then also there are civil, how can I say, like attachment, civil contempt attachments that are also, we did not deal with here, but we'll deal, I'm sure we'll have the Clerk of the Circuit Court is going to have another show to kind of deal with that in particular, but that's similarly attachments. So if those who have domestic relation cases or child support cases or divorce cases or anything like that, even civil as far as money lawsuits, meaning someone sued you for some money, there are abilities, there are things as far as like an attachment that can be ordered on those types of cases, which will get you into like a civil contempt type of situation, which can pretty much kind of pick someone up as a warrant. So if anyone's on here watching this and they're having thoughts in their head about what if I have, if I owe child support or something like that, yes, on a civil contempt or attachment, you can be picked up on something like that as well. So that's another type. That's another type of warrant. What we dealt with here today is pretty much on the criminal side, on the criminal end of warrants. So what we do have another show that we would deal with those particular type of attachments to make sure that you're put at ease on how that can be dealt with as well. So I really thank you all. I thank Iris Martinez, the Executive Clerk of Court Operations, Carmen Navarro. We really thank everyone here for giving us the opportunity to be able to help bring this knowledge to you, to help. We want to make sure that you get this knowledge in your pocket, get this knowledge in your head, get this knowledge wherever you want to hold it. so that you know how to take care of it. So I know that we did give information about how to contact our office. You can always get a hold of us at our through our website, generally speaking, which is cookcountyclerkofcourt.org. Okay, .org. But then also, I'm going to pull up on the screen here. I will pull up. I don't know if you all see that. You all see that? Just nod your head. Just let me know. Good, right? So we do have. I'll pull this information again. These are the districts. We're countywide. District 1 is typically Chicago, of course, and you see the information there. There's a phone number there as well. You can also email our office, and like Ms. Goodwin said earlier, also you can also visit our DAT portal or terminals, which is the digital access terminals, and then you also see the warrant email address there, which is warrants@cookcountycourt.com. So if you have any questions, so you have District 1, Chicago, District 2, Skokie, District 3, Rolling Meadows, 4, Maywood, 5, Bridgeview, and 6, Markham, all the way in the south suburbs. So you have your information there that you can actually get a hold of. So definitely, please get a hold of us. We're not scary. We are actually, and that's the actual copy of the motion there. So I just want to reiterate that we are here to make sure that you get your knowledge, that you are able to be taken care of. So thank you so very much. This has been very informative. I myself, being I want to say a part of this illustrious group of the Clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County. As a matter of fact, can I just real quick, just how long have you been with the office, Mr. Garza, since you were up on the screen? How long have you been with the office?
Not long, maybe a little less than 2 years.
And you have already acquired a lot of knowledge in those less than two years. Miss Lauren Lazinski, how long have you been at the office?
23 years.
23 years. This is what Mr. Garza was saying all together. So, Ms. Ortiz, how long have you been with the office?
29 years.
29 years. OMG. I probably should have saved you the last. And Ms. Goodwin, Darese Goodwin, how long have you been with the office?
27 years.
27 years. Wow. Listen, we wanted to reassure you all that are watching this. Really, this is not coming from individuals that do not know or have not experienced this through the court system. This is a team with a wealth of knowledge here. I myself, I guess, and Cindy, we right there together. So I myself, 29 years this year. So yes, I probably came in when I was a baby. So thank you all so very much. We really appreciate you all coming in on this warrant show. And please, everyone, be safe out there. Know that we are here for you. We're not against you. We're here together in this together because we want to make sure that this is a better society, a better county, a better place, a better world, better, to live in, so that we can continue to move forward and do the things that we need to do in our life to make this a better place for everyone. So thank you so very much for being a part of this show today. We really appreciate you. And please be safe. Thank you.
Thank you.